He's doing well. So Leeds United have been linked with West Brom manager Carlos Corberán, guy we all know. A guy, obviously was at Leeds United under Marcelo Bielsa and with the 23s. He's gone to forge his own career. He's had a fairly successful career in a short period of time. He's obviously been linked with the Leeds job. Let's get into what his style of play is, what his tactics are, and what to expect from him if he was to be the next Leeds manager. Let's go. And the first thing I'm going to focus on here is our build-up play. How do we play out from the back? When the goalkeeper's got it, when we've got it in defence, how do we play from it? So I've got a clip here, a little thing I made, of how we would play it if from the goalkeeper. Now, the bullet point I'll make is we play out from the back all the time, unless it's not on. The philosophy is to play out from the back. If we notice a weakness in their defence, we can play a straight ball over the top, a long ball early. That will be done, just like Bielsa did. But the idea and the philosophy is to play out from the back, dominate areas, be comfortable on the ball, rotations to play through their press, and then exploit them in defence. That's the idea, right? And here's an example. I'll do it really slow to start with, and I'll do quite a quick one. So you can see we're here on the whites. This is Leeds United. Ball comes to the centre back. Again, so of course, if they are fairly high up, but the 9 is kind of cutting it off. He should be a bit more up here, in fairness, the 9. So the 9's cutting that off, right? He's cutting the 5 off. So what we will do then, we will play into one of the double pivots, as you've just seen. Let's go into it again. The ball's in here. Play into that double pivot and back out. Now we look at the picture. So this 6 is dropping, just in case there's a ball into there, and then we can play in here to create this space, right? To exploit this space. However, I'll play it through now. This is a situation that will happen. Ball goes into there, into the pivot man, back out. Nothing's on up the line. We'll go back to the keeper. Boom. There's the space. Now, how do we exploit that? Basically, it's to do with rotations. As we can see here, we've got made that risk in there, back out. The 8 now, because of the way they are playing, they want to win the ball high up. They know we play with it from wide. If they are passive, we will dominate them. So what they want to do against the Carlos side is to win the ball high up. So what the 8 has done is took a risk here and tried to press us 3 to exploit that. But what he's done is left the 6 because of good rotations and movement. You see the 8 comes short. So this 8, our 8 comes short. So our 8 now is kind of watching this gap to not play a ball through. But what we've done is we've recycled it and back through. Now that's the 9. Now, because the striker's now over there, they can't let this guy just run out with the ball. There's too much space. So the 8 has to press. Our fullback has occupied their winger. Right? Our 10 has dropped really high up, depth, to occupy their central midfielder. So now the 8 has to press. Otherwise, he's got all this space in the world and we'll just pick them off because we're better technically than them, right? That's the idea. So now our centre back has recognised that. He's gone tight. He's left his man. Space is there to attack now. Once he gets it in there, that's when you go forward now. 4 high. Up there. +6 here. 5 high. Again, it's about using your advantage in certain areas, exploiting spaces and exploiting areas. And that's what they've done in this situation. The other guys off the ball are important to pin their guys and not allow them, as we saw here, not allow them. As you see, the 9 has now been dragged over to there, which means the 8 has to cover this area. Otherwise, this guy has all the time in the world. Keep them high up. He's coming here. He's left his man. Fullback and these guys are pinning up their guys, meaning they cannot be in this area. Otherwise, they've got a spare guy up the pitch on his own. So the 8 has to press. Nope, we're better coached. We know what's going to happen. We know that's going to happen. That's the point. So that's the build-up. And it will alter in so many ways, right? There's so many different patterns. There's endless patterns. But that's a basic, simple one that I found. And then we did a lot under Marcelo. And one that Carlos has done a lot with West Brom. There you go. It's also important to point out, if they needed, as we saw in the Bielsa, if we get the ball in the centre back area and there's not a you can't play through them, they're really set up to avoid that, and it works. What we will do then is exploit the fullback. So our striker will drift out wide with the winger and either hold the ball up or create a flick on, like we did on Bielsa so many times. That is the way out. There is more than one dimension to this. And to talk about the rest, I found an article here from breakingthelines.com, so shout out to those guys who did this. Now, here we go quickly at the foundations. Have we got it? That's a 4-2-3-1. We've identified that. Off the ball structure. So off the ball, they'll actually sit in a mid-block type thing in a 4-4-2. A sensible block, which is similar to Bielsa, right? But different to Bielsa, sorry. So out of possession, West Brom have operated 4-4-2. This transition into defence is simple. The 10 joins the 9 up top and forms a front 2, as well as both wingers track back to help against wide overloads, which at times makes it look like a 6-2-2 out of possession. This allows West Brom numerical superiority on the last line of defence, meaning they are less likely to concede to a free man at the back post. No comment. If you know, you know. Right, anyway, what they'll do, and it's not necessarily sitting, it's been structured defensively, as I said. But there is times they will press, which we'll get into. But the basic formation, the structure is that. All right, and with a 2 up top, it's actually quite effective to press at times as well. Let's get into it. So West Brom's philosophy out of possession. Since Corberán has come into the culture of West Brom has changed off the pitch. Being fit is a necessity. We know this, right? Carlos Corberán's team have to be fit. Based on what I've already showed you about the build-up and other things I'll show you about the press and how we actually attack, you'll see fitness is key. It's been reported in the Daily Mail that players have been placed on strict diet and undergo frequent weight checks. Sounds familiar, right? Yes, it does. This because the pitch Corberán believes is players must be ready to play at high intensity for the entire match. As well as this, compactness in the defence phase is key. No matter how West Brom are defending, whether it be a mid-block game against Reading or a high press against Preston, like I said, they will switch it up if they need to, depending on personnel, which is the slight difference between Carlos and Bielsa. He's more adaptive in that sense. Corberán has made defending simple. Every player has a task they must perform, a task to a high standard, or they won't play. No matter the structure, the way the players are, as to defend won't change. Simple. We go. You can also see it like this. There's also another one they've done, potentially when they press. So a 5-3-2 is drastically different to a 4-4-2, but on paper, West Brom still defend the same way, just with more numbers. In other words, so as you can see in this area, they're still defending in the same position, but what they're doing is nullifying Reading's attacks. So they've got 3 now. They've got 5 across here because the fullbacks are sitting in with their 2 up top. So they've got an extra man, so they can maybe unleash 1 or 2 out wide to stop overloads, for example. So that's it. So he will adapt. If he needs to do a pressing style, which he did do I watched the game against Burnley. When they got the ball in certain areas, that's identifying their weaknesses, he will provide a press. That will happen. But the role and the structure of the team will remain the same, if that makes sense. So it's adaptive. Build-up play. We've already done a bit on this. As you can see from these pictures, again, it's about pushing the fullbacks high, all playing centre-back, being comfortable on the ball. The fullback is up here. The other fullback is running up here. These 2 pivots, always looking in between the players to find space. Always in between. Unless they're doing a dummy or they're doing a switch run. So as you can see here, the image above shows no matter what, Corberán will prioritise numerical superiority in a build-up, creating overloads and having more players around the ball in a position to receive it than the opposition, as you can see here. The opposition here, Coventry, are pressing with a 3 or a 4th coming into the picture, doing half and half. They have 4 options, the goalkeeper and the guy in the middle, outnumbering them. There we go. As we can see, West Brom consistently outnumbered Coventry in the build-up phase by playing with 6 and even 7 sometimes in their own half. create that structure to build up the ball through the back, to beat the press, to then attack. We've done this before. So what happened here, and this shows Corberán's adaptive side, is this made it comfortable for Coventry to press, despite West Brom having more players to build up theirs. Coventry was actually almost impossible to get the ball into the player under Corberán, who's usually tasked to receiving the ball. So this will be the pivot guy, this will be the Forshaw, for example, or what would have been the Phillips. Turning and then breaking. Coventry, so what they did to address this, Carlos subbed Malumbe on for Rogic and pushed Swift into his more natural position further forward. This made it harder for Coventry to press due to Malumbe being more comfortable on the ball in deeper zones than Swift. It was about personnel as well, getting the right people in the right positions and adapting during games, another thing that Corberán will do. It also meant Albion had quicker and more able ball win it than the ball, since, Malumbe's better winning the ball. This structure looks like this. As you can see, this is how if a team isn't pressing, if a team is really sitting, this is the shape they will do. They will look to create overloads out wide in these areas. Simple. The West Brom, for the most part, play a 2-3-5. This is when they're high up the ball. So there's 2, 3, then 5 up here. 5 across the top. That being said, they're relatively fluid, like I said, in rotations. And the 10 being given a free roll, as well as this, both fullbacks are given license to get further forward at times. West Brom rely on Yukozlu to act as one of the man, the rest defence. It's a guy that kind of sits and navigates where the ball plays, where the ball goes. And if there is a break, he's the guy in the position to mop it all up. Tyler Adams, for example. This system is positional whilst allowing players to sort of control freedom and predetermines rotations, which you'll learn on the coaching ground. The right side of the pitch. In possession, philosophy on attacking transitions, Corberán allows West Brom to play instructive and direct football when the opportunity presents itself. However, for the most part, Albion use transitions to get their attacking shape. From this shape, they usually pass the ball patiently, slowly, moving around the opposition block up to the point where enough space is opened to get the opposition's last line of defence. So this is what I love. So obviously they've identified the goal kicks for Reading get a lot of chances from. What they've done is they parked 8 people around it. Is that not just reminding you of something that Bielsa used to do? Final thoughts on this thing is I think Carlos Corberán's final vision for the West Brom side is more similar to a 4-4-3 that was shown against Rotherham more than a 4-2-3-1 that we've seen in recent weeks. But that can't be achieved until an overhaul of the squad. And you read the end bit there, which with the club being in so much trouble off the field doesn't look like it's coming soon. So let me just clarify this. Carlos Corberán, style of play, has a lot of airs of Bielsa. The natural fitness, the aggression, the on-the-ball movements, the rotations and the overloads. The difference is the press and off-the-ball structure is more adaptive in that sense. Now, what is vital for this guy to work at a club is getting the right players in to do the job he wants. They all need to be fit and have the right attitude and be willing to sacrifice for the team. As I've blabbered on in this, West Brom cannot bring these players in for him. There's problems. If we approach Corberán, I'm convinced he will come. If we back the manager, as they've said, as many people have said, you back that guy with the players he needs, the players he wants, you've got a really good team on your hands. There's a lot I like about this side, this coach. It's not just the Bielsa link or the Leeds link. It's the time I've watched him, the stuff he's genuinely achieved are very impressive. So yeah, to finally summarise it all, experience in the Championship, yes. Done well in the Championship, yes. Done well with little resources, yes. A risk, yes, of course. Will it work? We don't know. Could it work? Yes. But what we need to realise is this is going to be a tough process, finding the right coach. I'm seeing some links today that I'm not delighted about. For me, having watched this, I've looked at loads of articles. This is the one I like the most. I want him. That's what I've decided from this. I know a lot of you guys in the comments wanted someone who was experienced in the EFL and who plays attractive football. You back Corberán, he will play the football he needs. It's complicated, but you have the right players, as we've seen under Marcelo Bielsa. This style works. Playing out from the back, people comfortable on the ball, people, even if they're not comfortable on the ball, the fact that they always have an option to pass to makes it a lot easier to give it to the people that are comfortable on the ball. High fullbacks, running out from the back with the ball if you're not being pressed. Creating overloads and rotations. Extremely fit. Let's see what happens. But this is one I like. This is the review of Carlos Corberán coming to Leeds United. Let me know what you guys think about it. I appreciate all the support. And I was going to do it, but then the Gerrard news came and I was like, might have to part that one. But here it is. Also, shout out to Calvin Phillips winning the FA Cup. Guy's living his dream. Honestly, I'm so proud of him. Serious. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Appreciate the support.